Hey guys, and welcome back to Tales of Reddit. Today we're going to be getting into some crazy Reddit stories. But before we get into it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot. And without further ado, let's get into some Reddit stories. Story number 1. AITA for a French joke I made? So this past weekend, a couple of friends and I met up. One of them brought along someone new, a woman who came from France. We all talked for a while about her country and her language. At some point, I decided to make a joke and I told her, it sucks that Americans don't really know any French beyond basic words and phrases like bonjour, merci, voulez-vous coucher avec moi, ce soir? For those who don't know, that last sentence means, do you want to sleep with me tonight? It was a famous line from a song that I thought Americans were pretty familiar with and would know that line. Apparently she didn't get the reference and she got really upset after. She told everyone else what that sentence meant and they said I was an asshole. I repeatedly told her I wasn't asking her to sleep with me, that it was just a joke about a song. But she wasn't hearing any of it and it kind of ruined the night for everybody. My friends are still saying I should apologize, but I don't feel like I did anything wrong besides make a joke that fell flat. Story number 2. AITA for wanting my friend to acknowledge her fault in a car accident? 2 days ago, I am 30, went on a fieldwork trip with some uni friends. My friend, F22, and I were the drivers. We had a great day and stopped for a meal at a small town pub. As we were preparing to leave, one girl went back to the pub, leaving my car door halfway open. While waiting, my friend reversed her car around mine, caught the door, panicked and kept reversing, fully opening it, damaging the interior and snapping her side mirror. She was in shock and repeatedly apologized, saying a passenger distracted her and she hadn't checked her mirrors. Everyone gathered around, but since we had insurance and the damage wasn't severe, we took photos for the claim and drove home. That night, she hosted a small party where half the attendees had witnessed the accident. There were friendly jokes about her driving, and everything seemed fine. Today, I filled out the insurance paperwork where both drivers acknowledged fault. She agreed to sign but asked me to list her mother's name to avoid an insurance rate increase. I agreed and sent her the form for review. After checking, she said it looked fine but mentioned that her insurer suggested I might be at fault since my car door was open. Confused, I called her, and she said her research indicated that because my door wasn't fully closed, I could be blamed. I reminded her that she admitted fault. My car was parked, and everyone saw what happened. She suggested letting the insurance inspection decide. I told her if that was the case, I wouldn't list her mother's name and would involve witnesses. She agreed. Before sending it to the insurance company, I sent her a text saying that I was not going to send the form until tomorrow, so she could think about it and if she really wanted to double down and having to involve all the other people, and that I was feeling betrayed by her stubbornness on wanting an insurance investigation when she knew quite well she was at fault. She replied that telling me she was sorry didn't mean she was acknowledging it was her fault, that she was sorry for the damages, but that she didn't know that if the parked car had the door opened it could be found at fault by the insurance company, and that she was only doing as her insurance agent was telling her. I replied again saying that she was not understanding the situation, that this was not a dispute with an unknown driver, that my car was parked with the door halfway open and that she just wrecked it by not checking her mirrors while reversing and that everyone saw that. I also said that the car damages were the least of my concerns since my insurance would cover the expenses either way, but that I could not believe that she was straight down refusing to acknowledge her responsibility in this. She then said that I should not lecture nor speak to her like that, and that I just proved that this was indeed a dispute with an unknown driver. Story number 3. AITA, new neighbor requesting surveillance footage for a 30-second activity within a 2-week time frame. I've said no twice and they keep asking. My neighbor from a few doors down purchased the house next door to me and is actively renovating it. They've been pretty respectful and so have I. I recently gave the owner my phone number after I saw a pretty extensive water leak from their renovation flowing into my driveway to the street. Not a big deal, but obviously they would want to get that turned off immediately and repaired. I'm in construction and real estate and recently had a similar leak from my house. So being neighborly, I texted them a link to the part they needed to fix the specific issue. Flash forward about a month later, neighbor is texting me asking if I have surveillance footage of their renovation property, especially the outdoor breaker boxes. They referenced a 2-week period that now fired. Contractor allegedly flipped a breaker that they weren't supposed to. Pool pump came and stayed on, ran dry, and burned out. I immediately let them know that my surveillance system is not in any way aimed at their house and I wouldn't have a view of that. They asked again in pretty much the same words as if I hadn't already replied. I did not feel so inclined to send them all sorts of camera screenshots that were none of their business, but I did send them two where her property line was just on the edge of the screen. They replied with a zoomed portion of one of the pictures, maybe equated to less than 1% of the entire view, circling and drawing arrows all over it, and this is the breaker box. Please send me pictures. Mind you, I already said no twice at this point. I have not replied again since the last text, but for those not understanding the request, there is no quick way to watch 2 weeks of surveillance footage of a tiny zoomed in 100 by 100 pixel area awaiting any type of movement. Your eyes would have to be on the screen the entire time. This is very different than watching for something stolen or broken, where you can easily narrow it down. This is not reasonable request, even from a neighbor on friendly terms, much less from a random acquaintance that I've spoken to maybe 5 times. Aside, I manage property all over town, have a lot of surveillance systems, and have been asked many times for footage by police, neighbors, strangers, etc. Even the policy, when investigated a crime, don't ask for things that obscure. Story number 4. AITA for refusing to share my food with my roommate. I, F26, live with F25. Last night I brought home a rotisserie chicken I bought from the store, and I ate some of it and packed it away to cut up for sandwiches the next day. I left a note on it with my name implying that it's mine in the fridge. I wake up this morning and the entire chicken is gone. I texted her about this a little upset because I didn't have anything else to take to work, and I got a very nasty reply where she basically told me I didn't need to eat that much chicken, uneasy face. I texted her back telling her that anything in the fridge she didn't put there to not touch, and that solves that. I hate coming across like this, but I feel like I have to, uneasy face. ITA here? Story number 5. My niece wants to get married next year on my parents' anniversary, which she sees as an honor, especially since my dad passed away in 2022. He was like a father to her, and she's disappointed that he will not be there to walk her down the aisle. However, my mom told her she is not thrilled about this decision and would prefer she pick a different date. To begin with, my mom has said it feels like the date is being taken away from her, that it will no longer be a day about her and her late husband, but about my niece and her new husband. She has stated it will be very hard for her to be at a wedding on what should have been her 56th anniversary and not have her husband at her side. When I asked my sister, my niece's mother, if she chose a different date, I was told that unless the venue can't do that date, there are no plans to change it. I tried to explain to her that our mom was not honored by this decision or happy, and she should change the date. But her response was, but it's to honor Dad. I said there are other ways to honor our dad and make him a part of the moment without taking this day away from our mom. It doesn't seem right to do something to honor one person who is dead, at the expense of someone who has to go through the emotional/painful moment. I was basically told that my niece has her reasons for wanting that date and the day will be hard regardless, but the wedding with make it a happy memory. Basically, I was told to just deal with it. Are I in the wrong to suggest she choose a different date since it is hurtful to my mom? I just don't understand how she can see it as an honor to do it on their anniversary when my mom has said she's not happy about it and might actually be hurt by the decision. Story number 6. My girlfriend, 29F, and I, 28M, have been together for 4 months. She had a dog that died a few months before we met. I have only ever spent the night at her place. I live with my sister and her 2 kids, so it's a little chaotic at my place. GF has a small, 2 to 3 inches tall, urn on her bedside table with the dog's ashes. Before she turns off her lamp to go to sleep, she always gives it a little tap on the top and says, "Good night," as though she is talking to the dog. I think it's weird, but I have never said anything. We were supposed to go away for the weekend. On Friday, I was watching her pack and noticed she took the urn and put it in the top pocket of her backpack. I asked what she was doing. She said she didn't want to leave the dog behind. I told her she was not allowed to bring the urn as it made me very uncomfortable. I didn't want to see it any time we returned to our hotel room. I didn't want her talking to her dead dog after we've had sex, i.e., before we go to sleep. It's weird, and frankly, she's been mourning this dog for too long. She didn't argue. She simply started to unpack her bag. She told me to have fun on the weekend getaway, as she would not be coming. I asked if she was seriously choosing a dog's ashes over me. She said she was choosing herself over me, as I could have spoken to her with kindness and empathy, but didn't. She also said that I didn't get to dictate how long she's allowed to grieve. Then she asked me to leave. She hasn't replied to my texts. I think she's overreacting. My sister said she can see both of our sides. Am I an asshole for thinking my GF is weird for being so attached to her dead dog's ashes? Edit 1. The hotel was non-refundable and only a 3-hour drive, so I went on the trip without her. Edit 2. She started seeing a psychologist around the same time we started dating. She hasn't told me any specifics, but she said the trauma of suddenly losing her dog brought to the surface other trauma in her past. This is why I think she has been mourning for too long. She is still attached to the dog, even after seeing a professional on a regular basis for several months. Update, and I'm sure this will make a lot of you happy, I get it. I'm an asshole. I texted my GF to say I'm sorry for how I spoke to her and for dismissing her feelings. It was wrong. I also said I would like to apologize in person and offered to bring over her favorite takeout. She said, all good. Don't worry about an in-person apology. I gathered the things you've left at my house. Let me know when you would like to come pick them up. I'm hoping she will still hear me out when I go to her place. Edit 3. To those of you DMING me who think I'm NTA, but won't post a public comment due to the risk of being downvoted, please stop. That is cowardly. To those saying my girlfriend is a lunatic, a sociopath, unhinged, a trauma dumper, has endless emotional baggage, in need of a mental institution, etc., please stop that too. While myself and others may not understand what she is going through, that doesn't automatically make her mentally unstable. She has a good heart and a good head on her shoulders. Name-calling is unnecessary and borderline crueler than I was. Story number 7. AITA. For refusing to give my coworker a ride after he called me his personal chauffeur? I have a coworker who lives near me and I've given him a ride to work a few times before. Well, his car is now in the shop, needed to get work done, and he asked for a ride again. Not a big deal. He even asked if I could stop by the store for him to pick up groceries, and again I didn't mind, I had nothing else going on. Well, earlier I heard him joking about how I'm his personal chauffeur, and he didn't need to rush his car getting fixed. He asked me for a ride again today after work and I told him no, bringing up what I heard him say. He said I'm overreacting and that he was just kidding. I didn't give him a ride home and he had to pay for an Uber. Am I an asshole for not giving him a ride home? Or was his joking as rude as I took it? I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please subscribe and like the video and comment what your favorite story was. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.